Welcome to Martha Runs the World, a podcast with a new take on running, fitness, and all things health-oriented. I'm Martha Hughes, your host, and each week I present a new topic that is of interest to all runners. Hi, and welcome to episode 290 of Martha Runs the World. How are you this week? I'm doing great. My training is coming along very nicely. I am training for a 50K in October. I'm going to do the Ruth Anderson 50K here in San Francisco for the first time. I've never done it before, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. This week, I'm talking about Fastpacking, what it is, how you prepare, what you need, that kind of thing. Before my accident, I was planning on going on at least one overnight Fastpacking trip, maybe two. But since my accident, I've had to put that off for a year, so I haven't done it myself, but I do have one of the necessary pieces of equipment, and I know what it is. I did a lot of research on it. I am aware of what it is. I've watched a lot of videos about it, so I'll be talking about that. Fastpacking was coined as a term by Jim Knight during a 1988 traverse of the Wind River Range with Bryce Thatcher. In an article in Ultra Running magazine of the same year, Jim wrote, "We were wilderness running, power hiking, kind of backpacking, but much faster. It was more fluid, neat, almost surgical. Get in, get out. I call it fastpacking." They completed a 100-mile traverse in just 38 hours. Bryce, an accomplished endurance athlete and climber, also founded Ultimate Direction. So they make hydration packs and hydration running equipment. I love that company. My Fast Pack is an Ultimate Direction pack. You kind of get a little bit of the idea what fast packing is, but there's also more. Fast packing is distance trail running and ultralight backpacking rolled into one epic outdoor adventure. You're moving fast. You're mostly running or jogging with hiking, but hiking quickly. There's none of that slow hiking that you have when you have 50, 60 pounds on your back. You're covering long distances and carrying just enough essentials for a multi-day journey. Now, you may only go overnight, or you may go 2 or 3 or 4 nights. Moving swiftly with a light kit lets you escape the crowds, reach deeper into the backcountry, and stay out longer than if you were just trail running. And it also helps you so you don't have to take so much that you're just hiking slowly. Some of us don't want to just go out and hike. Some of us want to trail run and go a little faster. One of the biggest drawbacks is being able to cover more ground and see more in a shorter time than you otherwise would be able to if you're just backpacking or trail running. With light overnight gear on your back, you run, set up camp, sleep, wake up, run, and do it all over again. It's about pushing your comfort zone, challenging yourself mentally and physically, and truly immersing yourself in wild surroundings. There's something incredibly freeing and empowering in relying on your feet to cover all that distance in a shorter amount of time. And the only problem with backpacking is you just don't cover that much ground unless you want to stay out for hours and hours and do a really long distance. And you can if you're physically able to do that. I mean, you get some of these really fit backpackers like Darwin. If you ever watch his YouTube channel, he goes out and he'll do 30 miles in a day, but most backpackers don't do 50Ks every day. Most do not do that. Most will do 15 miles, maybe 20, but most do not do that. The benefits of fastpacking offer a unique blend of physical challenge and immersive outdoor experience. Here are some other more benefits. They cover more ground. Fastpacking allows you to explore more of the wilderness areas in less time. You can cover greater distances compared to traditional backpacking. Enhanced fitness. Combining running with backpacking provides an excellent full body workout. So you not only get your legs going, but you're also getting your upper body workout because you're carrying more gear. You're not carrying as much as you would in a backpack, but it's still heavier than you would if you just had a lighter hydration vest. Minimalist approach. Embracing minimalism teaches you to prioritize essentials and appreciate the simplicity of outdoor living. It fosters a deeper connection with nature. Flexibility. Fastpacking offers the flexibility to adapt your pace and route. Whether you want to push your limits or take it easy, you have the choice. You have the freedom to choose. Sense of achievement. Completing a fast-packing trip provides a great sense of accomplishment. It challenges you physically and mentally, leaving you with lasting memories and a sense of pride. Now, how do you get started with doing fast-packing? Okay, you need to build up your fitness, but if you're already a trail runner, you already have your running going and get your long miles in, practice getting more long miles in, but also you can practice hiking with a pack if you want, with a heavier pack. You might want to do some weightlifting to get you going, getting used to carrying pack. But I would take your pack out if you have a pack, and I'm going to talk about gear in a little bit. But I would practice taking that gear out on a day with the weight amount that you want, and practice doing that on a couple hours to see how it feels, and just go longer and longer times to get used to carrying that. That's really the only way you're going to get used to doing something, is to do it. So that's really how to practice that. Dial in your gear. You want to get the best gear you can. And the unfortunate truth about ultralight gear is that lighter it is, the more expensive it is. Fastpacking is not cheap. It's not for the extremely poor person. So you want to get the best gear you can. Sometimes you can get good gear and like I will be talking about gear in more detail, but you want to get the most comfortable gear, and sometimes you can buy used gear, but you want to make sure and get the best gear you can for yourself. So you want to practice with that gear. And you can partner up with someone if you want who has done it before. You don't have to, but it's a nice way to learn, or at least if you don't want to partner with someone to do it, you ask them before you go how they did it, and they can give you very helpful tips. And start small. Don't go out on a 4-day adventure if you've never done it before. Try it overnight first before you go out on a multi-day. Be realistic, too. Don't expect you to go out to do 20 miles on the first day. Go out to do less miles and then work your way up to more miles. And don't expect to do a blistering pace. Do a slower pace and then work your way up to faster paces. And also, if you're going out by yourself, let someone know where you're going to be. And I will also talk about emergency messaging devices, which are extremely important to have if you're going out in the backcountry where there's no cell service. It's really, really important. All right, now, the essentials of fast-packing gear. Gear is important, and the unfortunate part about things fast-packing is that it is not cheap. Fast-packing gear does cost money. One way you can do it is to get used gear. You can find used gear. You can find it in many places. Maybe your local running store, your local camping outfitter has used gear. You can find that. You can find it in running groups, in camping groups, or you can wait for sales. Lots of places have sales. REI has an annual sale or a biannual sale. You can find things like Ultimate Direction has sales. They all have sales, so look for sales. Fastpacking pack. Your choice of your pack is crucial. I would say look for more the running style hydration vests than a traditional backpacking pack. The reason is because you want a running vest because they have a lot of pockets up front. And backpacking packs don't have pockets up front. They all have everything in the back. So if you want water, you have to take off and get to the water. And in fast packing, you don't want to take everything off because that slows you down. You want to have your bottles up front and everything up front and your nutrition up front so you don't have to stop. The whole point of fast packing is to do things quickly and to not be bogged down. Shelter. Shelter is another thing, and I'm going to go into more detail on all of these, of course. Shelter, you want to opt for a very lightweight tent, tarp, or hammock. And there are pluses and minuses for each one of these. And like I said, I will go into detail in these in a moment. Now, what you decide to sleep in, you have your choice between a sleeping bag or a quilt. Both of them have, again, their advantages and disadvantages. You want to make sure you get enough comfort, enough warmth, but you don't want to have too much if you're not going into an area that gets, if you're going out at a time of year that does not get cold at night, then you don't want, or you don't need a bag or a quilt that goes down to 0 degrees. Those are quite a lot more expensive than one that goes down to 30 degrees. You have to think about these things. Clothing. Dress in layers to adapt to changing weather conditions. Choose moisture wicking, quick drying fabrics to stay comfortable. You don't want to take a ton of different clothes, though. You want to take maybe one layer because you're going to stay in the same clothes if you can. Maybe you want to take one change of socks, one change of underwear, but you don't want to take a ton of stuff. You're not going to be out there for days. You're not backpacking. You're going to stay in the same clothes if you can. This is lightweight. You're not on a cruise ship taking different outfits, okay? This is not a pleasure cruise. All right, so you want to go minimally. Remember, you want minimal. You have very minimal pack. You have very, very little space to pack things. But you do want to take an extra layer in case. That also includes maybe taking a very lightweight windbreaker or rain jacket in case it rains. I have one that doesn't weigh anything at all, and it's nice to take with me, and I can just scrunch it up into a very, very small space if necessary. Footwear. Okay, trail running shoes, obviously, you're not going to wear boots because we're runners, right? So you're going to wear trail running shoes. And you know the difference between a hiker and a trail runner? They call our shoes trail runners. Well, we're trail runners. We're not our shoes, so we call them trail running shoes. So you want to get the trail running shoes that work best for you, whatever they are, be they Hoka, Ultra, Topo, whatever shoes work best for you, you want to wear them. And these are the only shoes you're going to take with you. You're not going to take an extra pair because no, why would you? And make sure that they are pretty new so that you don't have any problems with them. And yeah, it's always good to take a new pair with you or a fairly new pair. You run on them a couple times to make sure they're okay, but you're not going to take another pair with you. The food and water. Now, this is where you really, really want to plan out your meals very carefully because this is where this can bog you down. If you're only going to go out for a night or 2 nights, consider not bringing a stove with you. Consider having everything cold, or you can soak your food. Many people will take out a container with those little gelato plastic containers. People will put like couscous in them and water and have those soaked, and those will be ready for dinner. And have not ice, but cold coffee for breakfast, with instant coffee for breakfast instead of heating up water, so that saves them the weight of the gas container for your stove. So you don't have to take that with you. That's a really good way to save space. So consider that. You may consider that. Consider energy bars, nuts, dried fruit, that kind of thing to add in with your meals. You can consider flour tortillas, maybe some peanut butter in those little plastic individual containers to add into it. You can take salami. If you're going overnight, take salami with you. That works really well. You can take those little individual packets of tuna They come in chicken as well. You can take those. If you like Spam, I can't stand the stuff, but if you like Spam, you can take those too. They come in little individual packets as well. You need lots of protein on the trail. You also need your healthy carbs. That's why the couscous, you can add your chicken or your tuna or your Spam if you want to your couscous or something like that. Instant rice is really good. You can cold soak that. If you want to bring a stove, you can. Just remember that is extra weight. And especially if you're gone for multiple nights, stove is nice. Or if it's cold out, a stove is also nice to have some nice hot soup or hot coffee or hot cocoa, whatever. But you have to remember this is part of the weight. Every gram counts in fast packing. Every little teeny bit of weight counts in fast packing. And your water is going to be really important. So you want a really good filter. Usually you use Sawyer or Katadyn. I like Katadyn myself, but you have to figure out what works best for you. Now, navigation, it's really, really important to have your navigation down. Yes, a paper map is really good to have, and a compass, and learn how to use your compass. But it's also good to have a GPS system. You can have a mini Garmin little mini Garmin tracker is really nice to have if you're going into the backcountry. I know some newer phones have the system, and if you have a Starlink, you can hook up to that. So have something where someone can keep track of you and find you if you get lost or if you don't come home when you say you're going to be home. It's really, really important. Or if something happens to you, you get injured on the trail, they can find you right away. First aid and safety. This is important. Just carry a little bitty compact first aid kit. I've talked about this in the past, so I'm not going to go over everything in it. There should just be just minimal amount of things in there to help you. You will not believe how helpful some of that stuff can be, even in other things other than first aid. Very, very helpful. You fix your tent with some of that stuff in the first aid kit. It is true. Now, let's talk about packs. Let's talk about packs versus traditional hiking packs, backpacks. There's a few differences between the vest pack rather than the traditional backpack. A fast pack doesn't bounce like a regular backpack will. It hugs onto your body. There should be 2 places for it to attach on the top, or maybe 3. My fast pack attaches in 3 different spots, and it really, really hugs close. And there are lots of places to adjust it. So if it doesn't fit right, you can adjust it in a few different spots. So it's very nice, actually. It feels really, really good. There are nice pockets in the front. So I can put my glasses in one pocket. I can put a water bottle in another. And there are lots of places to put things, and it fills up very nice. It's a 30-liter pack, so it's probably good for overnight, maybe 2 nights. I wouldn't try it for 3. I don't think it's big enough for 3. I would say a 40-liter can get you 3, maybe 4. Anything more than that, you're going to have to either reload or go for a bigger one. But I don't know if you'd want a bigger one than 40-liter for fast packing, but that's my thoughts. If you can carry more, 40 might be the most. My 30, I think, is probably enough for me. Fast packing they're always much smaller than even ultralight hiking backpack. Hiking backpacks can be 50, maybe. The capacity of 30-liter, like I said, is about a 2 or 3. They say 3 fast packing. If you're super, super light, maybe 3. Me, probably 2. Remember, you're going to be moving fast, so you don't want to carry too much stuff. The access is nice. What's nice about the access on mine is that I can grab things in the front. And also, too, if you really want to put more stuff, you can also add a waist pack to that, so to put more stuff on it. So you'll have access to your waist pack and to your fast pack. And there's also packs on the side of the fast pack, so if you don't even want it in the front pockets, you can put them in the side pockets. There's tons of pockets on a fast pack. That's what makes it different than a minimal backpack as well. After you get your gear, you got to plan out where you want to go first. You want to choose your route. You want to make sure that that you can handle the terrain, the distance, the elevation gain. Lots of great places to go. Do you want to go in total wilderness, or do you want to go in a national park? Do you want to go in a state park? Do you want to go in a national forest? Do you want some people around? Do you want no one around? You have to figure that out. What time of year you want to go? Do you want to go in the summer? Do you want to go in the spring? Do you want a winter? Do you want snow? Do you not want snow? Do you want the possibility of rainstorms? That's all up to you. You want to pack light and pack smart. You want to lay everything out that you want to pack. Lay everything out on the floor or on your bed and figure out what you want, and then pack it in. And usually with backpacking, you're going to put everything in determining when you're going to use it. So if you use something first, you're going to pack that last. So you want everything in your pack, how you're going to use it. Stay hydrated. You want to plan your water stops and carry enough food to sustain your energies. But you're also, since you have that water bottle in front, you don't have to stop and take your pack off every time you want water. But if you're taking the Catadine bottle like I do, I keep my Catadine bottle on the side. So if I come over a river or a creek or something like that, I can just whip it out and get some water out of that and then filter that into my drinking bottle. And also, the thing with fastpacking, or the thing with any backpacking, especially if you're out in the backcountry and not around any trash cans or anything like that, is that it's leave no trace. Take an extra Ziploc bags or extra plastic bags, whatever waste you have, okay, besides digging a hole and doing that. But if you have toilet paper, you don't leave it there. You put that in the plastic bag and you take that with you. So the next time you see a garbage can, you can toss that waste. You don't leave that toilet paper. You don't leave anything in the outdoors, except what you've done personally, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to say it exactly. You want to build up your endurance, as I already talked about. You want to make sure that you do a few day hikes with your pack at the weight that you're going to be fast packing with. Try that for a few hours before you go out on the trail for a day or two or multiple days. Sleeping bags. Sleeping bag versus a quilt. A traditional sleeping bag is essentially a tube of insulation. It can be made of down or synthetic down, and it surrounds your body and traps heat and keeps you warm. Quilts basically come down with a set of elastic cords that attach to your sleeping pad, and they give you a little bit more movement. I happen to like a sleeping bag. I like to be wrapped up like a mummy. I like that. But some people don't like sleeping bags. They like the freedom of a quilt. It doesn't require zippers. It doesn't come with a hood. And it's much lighter, much more compressible, less expensive. So they do enjoy that. Now, I like the sleeping bag. Sleeping bags are warmer. If you get cold at night or if it's very cold out, sleeping bags are warmer. Sleeping bags will keep you warmer. There's not the drafts if you happen to be in a drafty part of the quilt. So it just really depends on what you want. The downside is sleeping bags are more expensive. Quilts cost less. So you really have to decide what you want. Do you want more heat? Do you want to be surrounded and have that comfort feeling, or do you want more freedom? It's really up to you. Now, the temperature rating on quilts and sleeping bags is misleading. If it says the temperature goes down to 30 degrees, meaning that you will feel comfortable in the bag, if at nighttime goes down to 30 degrees, add another 10 degrees to that. So that means that you will actually feel a little cold at 30, that actually, if the nighttime temperature is 40 degrees, you'll feel comfortable. So if you need a sleeping bag or quilt that you will be warm at a nighttime temperature of 30, get one that says 20. That's the rule of thumb. So go down 10 degrees. So if you need one at a really, really cold temperature, if you're going to be doing some early spring or late fall or winter camping or winter fast packing, then you need one that goes down to 0. So that's just a rule of thumb. And the lower the temperature rating, the more expensive the quilter bag. Just an FYI. It has more insulation, and it's thicker, it's a little heavier, and so the more they charge. Okay, the bags are going to be, hopefully you can get one around a pound, usually like at 30 degrees, will be like 17.94 ounces, 40 degrees, 14.69 ounces, something like that. It's going to be around there. It's not going to be shouldn't be much more than a pound. You don't want more than that. If it's more than that, then it's too heavy for fast packing. And they're not cheap either. You are going to pay a lot of money for this gear. And we'll talk about cost at the very end. Now, shelter. This is a biggie. Okay, there are 2 types of shelters you can take with you on a fast packing trip. There are freestanding and unfreestanding, or non-freestanding. Freestanding means that they have poles that come with them. And the non-freestanding means that you use your trekking poles to keep it up. The only freestanding type of tent you should take with you is a bivvy. You shouldn't take any of the other types with you because they're just way too heavy. A bivvy is a very, very small little tent that only really fits you sleeping. It probably won't fit your pack. It may fit your pack towards your feet, maybe. But if you don't mind your pack being out in the open where people can take it or animals can get into it, I don't know. If you don't mind that, you can have your bivvy. Hopefully it can fit by your feet in it. What you do is that you can set up your bivvy and put the tarp on top of that. And then you have a little extra protection, but you're sleeping in your bivvy. And many fast packers like that option, like that setup, because it's very, very light. But you save a few ounces that way. Or you can do the non-freestanding tent, which you use your hiking poles to set up. It's a lot more expensive, true. These tents are not cheap, but you can get a one person, and there is plenty of room for you and your pack inside the tent, and you get protection from rain, protection from wind, protection from, all that stuff, and need a little bit of privacy too. So for me, that is the way to go. That is the way that I am going to do it. But you have to decide what is most important for you. Now, the fast pack I've been talking about, it should have at least 22 liters plus of storage. It should have pockets on the straps in front. And that's what's the difference between a backpack and a fast pack, is that the ones that we use are more like running vests with storage on the front straps. Backpacks don't have any storage on the front straps. They never do, but that's one of the big differences. They have smaller loads and they're frameless. They just hug your body. They're very snug. Because they have to be, because you're running a lot of the time. You may not be running all the time, but you're running much of the time. They aren't set up for long water carries, but maybe there are some that might be better for longer water carries. You have to try them out for yourself. Now, the costs on all of these, gear for fast packing, ultra light gear is not inexpensive, as I said. The most expensive things are going to be your tent and your sleeping bags. Your tent is probably the most expensive. Tents, ultralight tents, can be $600. For like a single person, it might be maybe $400 or $500 for a single tent. Of course, the bivvy and the tarp are going to be cheaper, but you're also not going to have the protection that you would with a tent. Your sleeping bag is going to be maybe $500. Depending on the temperature that you want it. Quilts are a little less. Your pack is going to be probably maybe $250. And then you have to have a sleeping pad. And the sleeping pad is very, very important to me The sleeping pad is what makes things comfortable. Now, you may say, oh, I can forego that. Well, think about it. Can you? Can you really forego a sleeping pad? I cannot, but you have to think about it for yourself. Do you really want to forego that comfort and be miserable all night? I can't. You have to think about what you can forego, what you can go without. It's up to you. You have to decide what's the most important thing that you need for a few days. Do you want to sleep at night, or do you want to toss and turn all night and be uncomfortable? It's really up to you. How much of a sadomasochist do you want to be? But things can be found on sale. Things can be found used. Things can be bought. You can buy the piece of gear a couple times a year and then say, I'll buy this now. And then in a few months, I'll buy another one, so that by the time you're ready to go, you have everything stored up. It's really, you can plan this. You can do this. So if you want to do it, it sounds like an amazing thing, and I'm going to do it next year. I know I am. And that is all about fast packing. There are places you can go and do this and have an amazing time. One of the places I wanted to go is Point Reyes. You can go out there and have an excellent hiking experience, backpacking or fast packing experience out there. They have great backcountry camps that you can only get to through backpacking, which would be very, very fun. And they even have water available, so you don't have to hike in your own water. So that sounds fun. So I think I'll do that next year. All right, so that is this week's show. So check out everything at martharunstheworld.com. And if you want to become a friend of the show, a Patreon patron, that is available there. If you want to become a friend, there is a link on whatever podcast player you're using. You don't even have to go to the website. Just look at the player and see how to help the show, and you can do that right from there. You don't have to do anything at all, but just click that, and you can do that for a couple bucks. Super easy. It would be very helpful. And if you want to email me, it's martharunstheworld@gmail.com. And until next week, let's tie up our shoelaces and go for a run.